Hello everybody, this is Yoko's Attack Treasures, and I don't even know if I actually messed up the channel name on the other videos. If I did, I apologize. I'm still getting used to the new name. Anyway, I know that many of you have been eagerly awaiting the second half of Season 3, and so have I for that matter. Well, here we finally are, and the funny thing is, we didn't have to wait 2-3 weeks like we usually do. This episode came out in the sub and dub at the same time. Yay! Or the same day, I should say. Not the same time. Probably not the same time. I wish, but I don't know. Anyway, now that they have the nitric acid made, they sadly can only make a small amount, like enough for one person, essentially, for a bit, and and then they make another batch for one single person, and the first person they are planning to revive is, they're going for Kaseki first, because, he's a craftsman, and they're gonna need him in order to be able to make some of their tools, essentially. And a bigger version of that system, essentially. So, they go to where the ship is, because, they gotta get the statue. Bad thing is, they waited too long on getting the statues. Because when they get there, they're tossing the statues and the pieces of the statues, I might add, into the water. And I'm guessing they did that for all the other statues that they petrified. And they're going to have to hurry because, water can erode rocks, and we don't want that to happen because then they can't be brought back. So, they think essentially that the best person to get now would be Ryusui because, he knows ocean currents and stuff, and he'd probably be able to do better than they would. So, yeah, they end up deciding this back at the cave. And when they come back, actually, I don't know if they decided the cave and then they came back, but we're back at the boat, and they see the people carrying Ryusui away, instead of breaking him and dumping him in, in the water like everybody else, because they assume that since he's got fancy clothes on, that he's the leader. So, they bring him back to the inner palace, and for some strange reason, they have the statue tied up. It's not he's not moving, so why would you tie him up when he's not going to be able to move? Seriously. Anyway, they decide to test the girl's loyalty, thinking they could flush out whoever it was that was infiltrating the place, by getting each of them to break off a piece of Ryusui. And obviously, Kohaku and the others aren't too thrilled about this because, they don't have Yuzuriha awake at the moment to be able to put them back together if they were to break them apart. So, Kohaku decides that, they need to do this. So she rushes over when it's her turn and starts breaking him into pieces until it completely breaks apart. And the others race over, gather up all the pieces, claiming, "Oh, we'll clean this up. And then they rush off and start grabbing, the Ratmobiles, and start putting the pieces in the Ratmobiles to deliver to everybody else. Because that's the only way they're going to get him back, essentially. Thankfully, they were able to get everything. And they get him back to the cave, they get him reassembled, essentially. And get him with the revival fluid after putting some clothes on him. This is different, though, than the usual, how it breaks and cracks and, it breaks off like it usually does when you revive somebody. But because they were recently petrified and they're now getting him back to normal, it's like it just melts off him, essentially. And the funny thing is, I don't know if you guys noticed, he doesn't have any more cracks. So I guess getting petrified, and then getting petrified the first time gets you the cracks, and the second time you get petrified and brought back, the cracks are filled in. So now you look normal. So now, thankfully, Ryusui realizes what's going on, and the funny thing is that Kohaku knew that, or said that, oh, Ryusu's gonna say, aha, I was the first person to be brought back twice! And he actually does say it! He does say it when he's brought back again. And when he sees all this going on, he realizes that they're gonna have to go down and get them, so he goes down with whatever the guy's name. I'm still blanking on his name. They go down to try and gather up Kaseki. Sadly, they can't hold their breath long enough. So they are going to have to develop scuba gear. Yeah, scuba gear. How are they going to do that? They take pieces of the lab, like the exhaust, the thing on top that has all the smoke coming out. They take off that, and then they start welding it together to hold as a tank, to be able to make it as airtight as possible. And then when they do that, they start trying to they attach it to a thingy that you try to make it more pressurized, essentially, because it's going to have to be able to withstand the ocean floor, you know. And the funny thing is, it starts out easy. It starts out easy where Suiki can do it. And now, as they get more and more pressure into it, they are all having a big old pole, and they're all on top of the pole, trying to push it down as much as they can. And then it goes, boom. But thankfully the tank is fine. And they make another one, and Ryusui and the other guy go down with the tanks and everything, and they start looking for Kaseki and the others, because, you know, they were tossed all in the same area. Thankfully, whatever his name is, I'm still blanking on the name. He spots the area where they were tossed out, and thankfully they were able to figure out where they're going. Sadly, they only have enough air for like 10 minutes down there. But like I said, thankfully they find him. Bad thing is, though, when they try to pull Kaseki where he's stuck in the ground, they can't get him out. He's stuck. So they're like, how are we going to get him out? So they decide, they start pulling on the cord in Japanese Morse code, and they're able to figure out that they need the revival fluid to be able to get Taiju, because Taiju is the strongest one out of them. And Ryusui was able to he gave up part of his oxygen to be able to blow the revival fluid up at Taiju so it would hit him, because if they didn't, it would just all float up into the surface and they wouldn't be able to use it. They get him back, and they give him a mask, and they give him a big old gulp of oxygen, and then give Ryusui back his gear, because he needs to be able to breathe too. And with the three of them, they're able to pull Kaseki out and go back up to the surface. So now they have Taiju, and they have Ryusui, and they have Taiju now. And they're going to be getting Kaseki back probably next episode. And I can't wait, because I really, really, really want to be able to find out who the master is. I want to be able to find out how he came across the petrification technology and how to make it. Because I'm sure they're not going to be able to just take it and run off. Oh no. Actually, they technically could. Because all they would have to do would be to take it and have everybody ready on the ship, race back to the ship, and then take off back to Japan. That's all they would have to do. And the others wouldn't be able to follow, because, you know, their ship was barely able to get there because, you know, the storms and everything. Do you really think the others will be able to come off and come after them? I don't think so. Unless he somehow got some hidden technology or something. Which, actually, that wouldn't surprise me. But, yeah, they could just race off with it, essentially. Though, like I said, that would kind of have some implications. Actually, they could just go back to Japan and restock their stuff. And they would take anybody who wanted to go with them, you know, back to Japan with them, and drop them off, get refueled, and go, essentially. So, yeah, they could. They could do that. But I don't know if they're actually going to do that. Because the Y-Man could still be on that island. And we don't know if that's the only technology to be able to petrify people that he has. It's just the one that we know of. So he could have more than one that has a bigger scale. So, yeah, that would be very bad if he did. So they gotta take him out. So that's why I don't think they're going to. It'd be an easy way to do it, but it wouldn't be the smartest way, essentially. Because they might have to go past that island at some point, and if they notice that ship, they're going to use that petrification beam on them. If they have another one, of course. But yeah, I'm excited for the next half of Season 3. I hope you guys are too, and I will see you all in the next video.